Today I'm going to give you the best deck for every single arena in the brand new Goblin Queen's Journey game mode. In the Goblin Queen's Journey, there's 4 brand new arenas, and each arena has its own best deck. You also unlock brand new cards in each arena, and this drastically changes how you play it. You guys can see I'm already at the highest arena in the game, but let's go back down to Arena 1. For this arena, the best deck is this deck here. Obviously, we are using a ton of Goblin cards, so we can use the Goblin Queen's ability, and we have double Smooth Spell, super important because a lot of people are using Goblins, and we have the Bowler for some extra splash damage. Now, before we hop into a game, I'm going to give you guys some pro tips with this deck. So the first thing to know is the Baby Goblin's Tower Troop. It has the exact same stats as the Princess Tower Troop. So if you know your Princess Troop's interactions, this Baby Goblin's Tower Troop is the exact same. As for the Queen's ability, you can see you have to play 20 elixir worth of Goblin cards to activate it. You know when the ability is ready because the bar will be full and your cards will glow green. This ability obviously sends 8 baby goblins at your opponent, 4 down each lane, and what I like to do is I like to try and combo this ability with a giant goblin at the bridge. The giant goblin will then tank for the baby goblins and it just adds to the pressure. A very important card in this deck is the Goblin Cage. A lot of people, especially in this arena, misplay their Goblin Cage. This is the correct placement for the Goblin Cage. The reason why is because the Goblin Giant will still go to it and both towers can hit the Goblin Giant. Obviously, if the Goblin Giant is coming down the opposite lane, then you play it on the opposite side, the exact same tile. This might seem like a very small thing, but when everyone is playing such a similar deck, it's these small little interactions that's going to win you the game. You might also notice we have the Dark Goblin in this deck. Like I said, a lot of people actually misplay the Goblin Cage, and you can actually snipe it with the Dark Goblin. Again, just helping your Goblin Giant get to the tower is very important. Now let's talk about the Demolisher. This is a brand new card, and it's honestly very powerful. The Demolisher will throw sticks of dynamite, but when it gets below 50% health, then it turns into a wall breaker and charges towards the nearest building. When it does explode, it does splash damage, so you have to be very careful about that. A log does not fully counter the Demolisher. It will still splash onto your tower, so don't waste your log. A great answer to the Demolisher is a Bowler. Now when placing the Bowler, do not place it right next to your tower, otherwise the Demolisher will splash the Bowler and the tower. Instead, you want to play it 1 or 2 tiles higher so it doesn't get that splash value. Another great counter to the Goblin Demolisher is actually just surrounding it with goblins up high. The goblins will get taken out, but you can see the Demolisher actually struggles against the goblins because he has to hit them twice to take them out. My final pro tip with this deck is the goblins. When you're playing goblins at the bridge, do not play them in the middle of the bridge. Instead, play them 1 tile to the side. The reason why is because when you play them 1 tile to the side, the goblins actually hit each other's hitbox and run a little bit faster. It's a very weird mechanic and a very weird trick, but it gets you some extra damage, which is very important. Okay, into a game here, and first play with this deck, we are going to go goblins at the bridge, and he sets up a Goblin Cage. That is absolutely fine. He then goes Dark Goblin at the back, so we are just going to play a Bowler. It is very important to know the Bowler is not a goblin, so it will not charge up the ability, but you're using him for his versatility and his practicality. Did you just see that defense? It was so clean. We are now going to go for a Goblin Giant at the bridge because his cage is out of cycle. He wastes the log, which is terrible because now we can Dark Goblin at the bridge. And this Demolisher is going to get taken out. He does go for arrows, that is fine. Bowler is splashing onto the tower, hitting that knight and hitting the tower. And that's why the Bowler is in this deck, and definitely better than the knight the game tries to recommend you. Anyway, we are going to go goblins here as well. Demolisher hits the tower, we are up a lot of damage, and even though me and this guy were running a very similar deck, I am just playing it better. And like I said, it's these small micro interactions that really change the game. Demolisher coming towards me, we play a Bowler. Like I said, the Bowler is the best answer for the Demolisher. It can fully counter it, which is awesome. Really bad arrows once again for my opponent, and we have now the ability charged up, and so does he. That is absolutely fine. He went for a cage down low as well. And here I'm just going to wait a little bit. And then we are going to Dark Goblin in the middle. Doing that just so we can activate the ability and also apply some pressure. Beautiful stuff. I didn't really defend the left side tower because I didn't really need to. Going to just go for arrows here and take his tower, and it's that easy. I've taken his entire tower. He's barely touched mine. Let's go for a demolisher here. And you guys will notice I'm saving my cage. I'm waiting for his goblin giant before I play my cage. That's a good habit to get into. Don't just play your goblin cage for no reason like this guy did. Instead, wait for his goblin giant, then do it in the correct placement like I said before. Really going to help you. He does go for arrows, really bad arrows once again. We are going to go for goblins here around this goblin ruler. A very clean defense. We do have the ability once again. He also used the ability, that's fine. Going to go for a bowler here just to help support everything. And he does go for a goblin gang at the bridge. Again, that's absolutely fine. Going to go for a dark goblin here. Go for a demolisher. Protect the tower, do some damage, and it's that easy. Throw this guy the good game, and yeah, it's really easy with this deck. Now, this deck is so good, I actually got 2 goblins to the mud pit undefeated. I will show the battle log just so you guys can see everything, and you can see it's nothing but straight wins with this deck. Incredibly easy, and something really nice about the first arena is if you do actually lose, you don't lose any trophies. So everyone should be able to get to the mud pit very easily. Now, once you get to the mud pit, a lot changes. First of all, you get an evolution slot. You also unlock the brand new Goblin Curse card, and your level cap changes to 11. So the first thing you want to do in this arena is upgrade your cards. There's a good chance your cards are going to be under-leveled like this Demolisher. You want to make sure you upgrade him so he's at least level 11 so you have a fair fighting chance in this arena. The same with your baby goblin's tower troop. It does not automatically upgrade, you have to upgrade it yourself. We are also now going to be changing up the deck a little bit. We're going to take advantage of the brand new Goblin Curse and our evolution slot. Let's start with the evolution. The best evolution to use is the Evo Goblin Bow. Obviously, the Evo Goblin Bow provides fantastic split lane pressure, and when you pair it with the Goblin Queen's ability, it's very hard to stop. Now, I understand not everyone will have the Goblin Bow evolution. I'm going to give you guys some alternatives you can use. So some good alternatives would be the Bomber. Again, you're using him for the splash effect similar to the Bowler. The Knight is also very solid. Again, you're using him just more for a tank. You could use the Firecracker. Again, that splash is what you're going for. Royal Recruits for that split lane pressure. The Valkyrie, again, is just a tank. And the Wizard. These are all the evolutions that are viable from Arena 2 onwards. Now, let's talk about the Goblin Curse and give you guys some pro tips about this card. First of all, the Goblin Curse. What does it do? Well, it turns troops into goblins. That's very obvious. It can turn Skarmies into Garmies and give you some crazy moments. But the aspect we are going to focus on and the real utility of this spell is that damage amplification. This damage amplification means that the troop is going to take the spell damage, and then any other damage it takes is going to take that damage and then plus 35% more. This is massive because just goblins and the Goblin Curse can fully counter a giant, which is insane. There's a lot of practical uses for this spell. As well, the Goblin Curse counts as a goblin card, so it's going to fill up the Queen's ability. And the rest of the deck is the exact same. So the pro tips from the first arena apply to this arena as well. So back onto my second account, we are going to be using this version of the deck. This account doesn't have the Evo Goblin Bow, so I'm using the Evo Firecracker. And we haven't even unlocked the Goblin Curse yet, so I'm still running arrows. Like I said, you can use this deck until you unlock the Goblin Curse. You do get it for free on the trophy road at 1200 trophies. First play, we are going to go Goblin Giant in the back, and let's see what my opponent does. He goes for a Demolisher, and you can see it's level 10. This guy did not upgrade his cards, and that's why it's so important that you guys do upgrade your cards, because it doesn't happen automatically. This guy is already playing at a disadvantage. Anyway, this push coming towards me is not ideal. We are going to go for a cage here, and obviously go for a Demolisher as well. Beautiful stuff, beautiful defense, very easy, and we do counter everything. Now, Demolisher should take out this Dark Goblin. It does survive as well. I'm going to just let it go though. And here we do have a Demolisher coming towards me, so we are going to Firecracker. Obviously, Firecracker, just like the Bowler, is a very good answer. It might splash onto the tower, and that's fine. And let's go for the ability right now, the Goblin Queen's ability. And you guys might notice I'm not actually really keeping track of how much elixir I'm playing in terms of goblins. I'm just playing the game normally, and this ability is more like a small bonus. It's definitely not the main focus of my gameplay, but if I can combo it, if I can use it effectively, I try to. If not though, just play the game normally. That's going to really help you out. Let's go for a Demolisher at the back. And again, you guys can just see I'm absolutely annihilating this guy in terms of tower health. We are going to Firecracker at the bridge here, doing that just so we take out the Dark Goblin, but also splash onto that Mega Knight. That's what I was really going for. Also going to hit the tower a little bit. That's very good. Demolisher there, doing Demolisher things. And we are going to actually log here as well, go for a Demolisher myself. And this is what I was talking about, where if I can combo the ability, I will. If I can't though, no problem. The ability is good enough to be a push by itself. So if you do just play it by itself, that's absolutely fine. Going to arrows that side and go for a cage for this Mega Knight. We do take his second tower, and was this the cleanest game in the world? Absolutely not, but we do get the results, and that's all that matters, winning. And then after some more hours of grinding, you eventually get up to the scrapyard, Arena 3. Once again, the meta changes because you unlock the Goblin Machine. So our deck turns from this into this. Again, we're now replacing the Goblin Giant with the Goblin Machine because the Goblin Machine is just better. Now let's talk about the Goblin Machine. The Goblin Machine is a 5 elixir card, and it has a giant rocket on its back. This rocket does massive damage. It does splash damage, it hits ground and air, it can splash onto the tower, it can hit the tower, it does everything. Something really nice as well is you can combo this Goblin Machine with the Goblin Curse, so the rocket does extra damage, helping you take out more tanky troops or other Goblin Machines. Now again, it is important to know that the level cap increased, so you definitely want to upgrade your cards to level 13 now, otherwise once again you're playing at a disadvantage. But let's hop into a game here in Arena 3, and at this point in the game obviously people are a lot better. They also kind of know the meta and everyone plays a very similar deck. First play we are going to Goblin Bow onto his tower, doing that just because we want to get closer to our Evo Goblin Bow, and the Evo Goblin Bow is now your main win condition. Whereas before you had the Goblin Giant and the Goblin Bow as your win cons, now you just have the Goblin Bow, and you really want to focus on that being your main win con. Anyway, here we are going to Goblin Curse and goblins around this Pekka, melting it very quickly. Again, amplified damage right there, coming in clutch. Going to bow once again onto his tower. Ram Rider coming towards us. We are going to just cage that. Goblin Cage right in front of the Ram Rider is definitely what you want to do. Same with Hog Riders, you want to cage right in front of them. And hey, we do have the ability ready right now, so I might just go for a Goblin Machine at the bridge. Doing that so it tanks for the baby goblins, and then obviously we do a ton of damage. Yeah, that's very hard for him to stop. Dark Goblin plus Goblin Machine on his tower, and he does go for a Goblin Machine himself, but honestly, it's too little too late. We already take his tower. Going to Goblin Demo in the middle right now. Going to take out his Goblin Demo and then obviously help take out this Goblin Machine. We are also going to surround this Goblin Machine, take him out very quickly. And again, when you're using the best deck in the game, it's very simple. There's a lot of stuff here, but we do end up winning, and that's the important thing. Say good game to this guy. Then after some more playing, you can get into Goblins 4, and once again you get an extra evolution slot and your card levels increase. Now you do still want to keep playing because you do get an exclusive emo at 3400, so the best deck in my opinion for this arena is this deck here. We have now replaced the Dark Goblin with the Evo Wizard. Again, this is a very strong evolution, can hit ground and air, and just evolutions are better than normal troops. That's no secret. The rest of the deck works the exact same, and let's hop into a game in the highest arena. At this point everyone definitely knows what they're doing and are probably all running a similar deck. Going to start with a Goblin Bow onto his tower, and he goes for a Goblin Gang. That is absolutely fine. We could log it, but honestly I'm going to play the Demolisher just because I want to get more goblins for my ability. He then goblins opposite lane, absolutely fine. And notice how he also played it one tile to the side because he knows the trick. Now that I've pointed that out, you can start to recognize it and know who's a better or worse player. Anyway, we are going to go for a wizard here, get closer to our Evo Wizard, and of course we take care of the Valkyrie very quick and easy. Now he does have a level 14 Demolisher. Obviously the level cap has increased, so this guy's actually playing at a disadvantage, and the Demolisher right now is hitting his tower. It's splashing onto the Demolisher and the tower. That is beautiful for me. Going to clean everything up here. Boom, very easy. And we will rush him. Let's go for goblins here. Obviously, the Demolisher is going to tank down one lane and then just goblins down the other. Split lane pressure, really hard to deal with, and that's actually a-okay. Going to completely ignore this left side. Going to ignore this Valkyrie as well. and just reset. The left side was my healthier tower, so I don't mind taking some damage there. Going to set up a goblin cage, and this guy is very close to his ability, and that's something I'm just keeping in the back of my mind. He goes for a goblin machine, so we are going to go for a goblin machine. I might have been calling it a demolisher this entire time, and if so, I apologize. Anyway, Evo Wizard here, fantastic answer to everything. Both the Goblin Queen ability and this Goblin Giant. We are going to Evo Barrel here. Boom, beautiful stuff. Real Barrel on the side with the Wizard, just so he has something to tank for, and that's a-okay. I'm going to be honest as well, these games get very chaotic. There are times I do not know exactly what's going on, but I just kind of do my best and play properly. And it works out. Anyway, really nice prediction on the barbs there. Didn't know he had them, but you know, I was just trying to apply some pressure because he was very aggressive just now. Really good placement here with my stuff. Going to Goblin Curse and Log, obviously. Amplified damage right there. Beautiful stuff. We take out everything, which is very good. And we'll go for a machine at the bridge. He goes for a Goblin Gang at the bridge. That is fine. Going to try and Goblin Barrel onto his tower. Machine's tanking right now, which is very good. Prediction Log. Didn't quite work out, but that's fine. Demolisher takes out everything. Goblins at the bridge, apply some pressure. Go for a machine at the back. And you guys can see I'm doing some combos like constantly. Like I play my Goblin Machine and my Goblin Demolisher together. I try and curse his Goblin Machine. Like there's some stuff that I just do in every single game and it normally works out pretty well. Anyway, let's go for a machine here. Let's go for a Evo Barrel. Real Barrel down the right side. Decoys down the left. Obviously doing that just to be annoying. And rocket hits in the tower, it's game over. But that is the Goblin Queen's journey for you. And I hope this video helped. If it did, leave a like and check out this video above my head.